Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Square-Enix Showcase for 2022. So I'm going to run down what was shown at the showcase. It was not a very big showcase. It was a very short showcase. I think it was 25 minutes long, I want to say. They showed off Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Rebirth is the part 2 of the Final Fantasy remake. They showed it off a little bit, showed off some of the visuals. It looks pretty cool. Showed off some of the parts of it. I mean, it looks graphically like the first one, but I mean, you know, it's just a continuation of the first one, which I loved. And so I'm excited to play part 2. And they announced that it is a 3-parter. So we'll get one more part after this, and that'll be the end. It's a trilogy. And that one is only coming to PlayStation 5, and it's launching, they said, next winter, whatever the hell that means. Does that mean this winter or the next winter? I'm not quite sure. So that's what they said there for that one. Crisis Core Reunion. So Crisis Core, that was the PSP exclusive forever. That one is finally getting a remake or a remaster. I'm not quite sure. It looks like a remaster because it looks more kind of in line with the remake's graphical style. But that one is coming out on all platforms. That is coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. So that's coming out for everything. And Crisis Core I had it back on the PSP. I liked it. I liked it fairly well. So it'll be cool to play through it again. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is the one that came with the Yuffie expansion, is coming to Steam. Actually, it's already on Steam and Steam Deck. So that came out, actually, I think the day after the showcase. Then they showed off Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier, which is their mobile game, which is a battle royale. I've tried it, and I don't like mobile games or battle royales, so I'm not really that big into it. And then they showed off Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Ever Crisis is it's an original Final Fantasy game. It's an episodic single-player mobile game that will allow players to experience the world of Final Fantasy VII and its connected stories. So I'm assuming it's going to be a mobile game where you can play the Final Fantasy VII story and like all the other kind of side stories, like the Cerberus one where you play as Vincent, and probably some Crisis Core stuff in there, and just kind of a hodgepodge of different Final Fantasy VII stories, as well as the main story it looked like from the trailer. They did show it off. It looked good, and I thought, they kind of had like the chibi characters. I was like, I'm not really big into that. But I thought it was going to be like a console game or maybe a Switch game, but then they said mobile, and I said, well, I'm out. So probably won't check that out. And then they showed off, last but not least, their merchandise. They showed off some stuff that you could buy from their store, which looked cool, but if you ever gone to Square-Enix's store, it's a little pricey. So it looks cool, but man, is it expensive. And that was their Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary celebration, as celebratory as it is. So that's what they showed. I mean, for me, I think the best thing would be the part 2 part, right, of the remake. But we're gonna go around and see what everybody else thought is what they thought was like the coolest thing out of there, or what they're most excited for, and just what they think overall with the showcase. Shane, what about you, buddy? What did you think of the Square-Enix Showcase?
I was extremely upset and pretty much on the verge of anger because Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within 2 was not announced. If you don't know what that is, go look it up and then hate yourself.
It was amazing. You shut your mouth.
Hey, I've watched that movie more than once.
I know, me too. It's a guilty
owned that
pleasure.
movie on DVD at one point.
That was the only reason I got a damn DVD player. But no, it was very short, but it gave half of what I wanted. Final Fantasy VII Part 2 Rebirth being announced made me happy. I'm very worried about that game now. Everybody knows I called the first one Filler Fantasy 7 because there was a lot of just straight ass filler to it. That's my opinion, so don't be hating. But the new trailer that they showed didn't see any open worldness to it. And I don't want to be stuck in a linear path again. I want it to open up. I want to be able to, traverse the maps like, Final Fantasy. It's so, but I doubt we'll get that. But it was still a good game. It was just too damn much filler. I would think they could have done a little bit more with it. Then, the mobile stuff, I just don't care about. None of us do. We are not mobile people, so there you go. The Crisis Core, can't wait for it. It is a full remaster, Nick, of the PSP original. So it looks pretty dang good. And hopefully it plays good. But really, it was no surprises. But it was a Final Fantasy 25th anniversary thing. So, the phone stuff, yeah, I didn't know about it, but I didn't care either. That really wasn't a surprise. So the Crisis Core was a bit of a surprise, but it's still, still Final Fantasy 7 related. It'd have been cool if it, had something really cool surprise, like it's coming to all consoles, or you get Spirits Within bundled in if you buy the, collector's edition or something. I don't know, but I wanted to see a little bit more. So, but it's still, it's good news for Final Fantasy fans overall. So, what about you, Pat?
Unlike Shane, I liked the remake. I thought it was great, but I will
Did you
also
play
admit,
the original?
I did not play the original. Is where I was going with that. As you guys all know, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan. I played some of the older ones, but not very many of them. And I never played Final Fantasy 7. I never played Final Fantasy 8. So I am, Final Fantasy 7 to me is a really great game. The remake is. And I'm looking forward to Reunion. What I'm looking forward to, though, is I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not, but the Reunion. I don't, I never played Crisis Core, and because I didn't own a PSP, but it's just a remaster. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm a little bit of a graphic snob. Can I get over that? And how much of a remaster are they going to give it? Is it going to look, I'm expecting now out of Square Enix, I'm expecting Final Fantasy 7, right? I saw the original Final Fantasy 7 and I saw the remake art and I'm like, wow, they did a lot to this. It's just an entirely new game at this point, So, it's that type of stuff. So I'm looking for that. The mobile games I don't care about. I'm not going to play them. I'm not going to play a Battle Royale game, let alone a Battle Royale mobile game. So, what about you, Nick? You didn't like the mobile stuff, but what about the other two? I know you mentioned some stuff on the Crisis Core remaster called Reunion.
Yeah, I did play Final Fantasy 7, the original, and the remake, and I love both of them. I think they're both great games. I enjoyed both. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Final Fantasy, what is it, Rebirth, I think? Yeah, Rebirth. So that's the Final Fantasy 7 Part 2. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really surprised that, that these remakes weren't, because I was expecting maybe that they would be announcing that they're coming to Xbox as well. Right, because they're starting to put them on PC, so I thought, okay, well, they're probably going to put them on Xbox as well, and they're not for these ones. This one is a PS5, and it just says PS5, so this is not because the original Final Fantasy remake came out on PS4 and then came out with the integrate version onto PS5, and then this one said only PS5, so this seems like an only PS5 game. I would assume they probably have some sort of exclusivity with Sony regarding this particular title, and probably until the trilogy finishes up, and then maybe like a year after that they can release it on Xbox. It seems like they don't have that same thing with PC. Well, I guess they don't, because thinking about it, when it came out on I believe on PS5, it came out on Epic Store as well. So. And then it just came out on Steam because they had an exclusivity with Epic for like a year or something like that. So that looks, it looks good to me. And I'm sure it probably will have that open world because, spoiler alert, at the end of Final Fantasy Remake 1, we exit Midgar. So, that's the part where we're going out into the open world part. It's not a spoiler if you ever play the original one, because the same thing happens there. But if you haven't played either one of them, that's a spoiler. So spoiler alert there. Crisis Core. Yeah. I mean, I had a PSP back in the day and I had a Crisis Core. So I'm really looking forward to being able to play through it again, because it's been a long time. That was a long time ago. So, and it does look like it didn't look like the same PSP graphics for sure. It looked like it was the remake. It looked like they made it in Final Fantasy VII Remake and then just like changed all the characters around and locations and stuff, but like within the same engine and graphical fidelity. Because there is a announcement trailer out there that does show some of the gameplay and like some of the cutscenes and stuff, and that's definitely not the PSP couldn't even get close to doing something like that, right? That's a really old system. And yeah, the mobile stuff I don't really care about. It's great for those people on Steam that are be able to play Remake. I know I think it's the top seller right now on Steam, so good for them. The thing though, I wish, not Spirits Within, but at the beginning they showed like a little sizzle reel of all the Final Fantasy VII stuff, and they showed off Advent Children. And oh man, I love Advent Children's an awesome anime. If you've never seen it, it is amazing. Like forget Spirits Within. Like this is the anime to watch if you want to watch a Final Fantasy VII anime, is Advent Children. I've seen that one like a million times. And I wish they would do something with that. That would be awesome to see them like do maybe a sequel to Advent Children, or maybe like a re-release. Maybe it comes with, I don't know, like a digital download with it where you can watch Advent Children, or just something like maybe a game based off of Advent Children or something like that. I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is kind of based off of that, but Advent Children was different. So it's something. It would be cool because they just showed like a little snippet of it and they didn't really say anything more about Advent Children other than that. So it would be cool to see them do more with Advent Children. But yes, if you haven't watched that, I'm sure you can find it somewhere, and it's definitely worth a watch.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Where would you rank Reunion close to like the Final Fantasy VII? Because I love Final Fantasy VII. If it's any close to that, then I would probably like it too.
You mean gameplay wise?
Yeah,
or are you talking about story wise?
Both, like gameplay and story. So, and story wise, how would you rank it?
I believe back in the day, Crisis Core played like a action game more than it did a turn based. So it's kind of 15? More similar to the remake.
Oh, okay, like
as far as that action style, right?
The story was good though. I don't think it was 7 good, but it was still really good.
The story, okay. I mean, I don't know when Crisis Core is coming out, I think next winter as well. But here's the thing about Crisis Core. Like, I don't know if you should play Crisis Core before you finish Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I don't know. Because,
well, it calls it a prequel. It says it's a prequel.
It is. Because it follows Zack, which if you play Final Fantasy VII, you know who Zack is. And there's a lot of lore there. So I don't want to give too much away. Just, I don't know. That might, I mean, it would be cool, but at the same sense, I almost feel like you should play Final Fantasy VII, like either the remake or the original, and then play Crisis Core. I mean, that's kind of how they came out. So you kind of get more of the backstory of Zack because you learn a lot about Zack in Final Fantasy VII.
So it's not going to come out that way, right? Because they're going to come out with the second episode, Rebirth, and then they're going to leave the third one, but then I hate their naming scheme. Reunion's going to come out, and then who knows what the third one's going to be called in 7. So I don't know if I can hold out to wait until that third piece comes out before I play this one.
I don't think you need to wait for the third piece, depending on where Chapter 2, Part 2, Rebirth ends.
True.
Because the Zack portions of the story, I think they pretty much ended, disc 2. Maybe they're in the middle of 3. So,
I think episode 2 or disc 2 in Final Fantasy VII, the original, which is like the middle part that they're going to release in this remake, I would imagine, does talk a lot about Zack and his whole thing. So that might be So after that, you might be like, cool, now I want to know more about Zack, so let me go play Crisis Core, because the end of Final Fantasy VII, if I remember, really doesn't focus on Zack as much as the middle part does.
Yeah. But yeah, I think got to finish at least part 2, see where that happens, and then you can probably jump into Crisis Core.
But looks like it may come out before it. I don't know, so we'll see. Because I like it. I've yet to play the Intergrade though, the Luffy expansion or whatever that came out with it.
Yuffie,
yeah. I've got.
Yep.
I mean, I purchased
That
it on
expansion
PlayStation.
was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm still working on it. I just haven't had time with all the other ones we're reviewing right now. But
all right, yep.
I need to jump back.
Yeah, I owned it, but I purchased it, but I just haven't played it yet either. Because originally I borrowed Nick's copy, and then when the DLC came out, I'm like, well, crap, can't play it without Nick's copy. So I had to go and buy the whole thing. But it was worth it. I liked the game, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, my biggest concern is how much are we going to miss from the original game? I mean, they cannot get rid of the Golden Casino. They can't get rid of Chocobo races. They've got to have that stuff. They got to have the open world. They got to be able to keep those portions of 7, like when you go find the mana balls with the one summoning. It's like the 7 soldiers or whatever it is. You have to find. It's like the best one you could get from the original. I mean, I'm just worried they're going to step more away from the original than they already have. And open world is, wandering around was the biggest part of it for me.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to include like the weapons, the summons, like I think is Ruby weapon that's under the ocean that, has a, in the original game, it has a timer, and there's a secret way that you can get a secret item to remove the timer. Cause when you're underwater, you have a certain amount of time that you can find it because you're underwater, right? And then there's an item you can get to remove that timer, but that's also secret. And so is the Ruby weapon, which is underwater. That's secret as well without finding all this stuff. So I wonder if they're going to add all that. And then I think there's also, I want to say there's like a 1 or 2, in the original game, there's like I want to say there was 1 or 2 characters that you could completely miss not having in your party if you
Vincent
just
was
didn't
one
go
of
out of your way.
I mean, Vincent was one of them. If you didn't do the, I think it was a clock and a piano in the house, you would completely miss Vincent. I think the first time I played it, I missed him. So, those are the things.
Another character.
Yeah, those are the things that really make Final Fantasy VII so great. So, and Pat never played him. I don't want Pat to miss out on those things, because those are the moments of the games that just make them stand out so damn much.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know how long the original game was, but the part 1 of this one was pretty darn long. So I can only imagine what part 2 is going to be like, and then part 3. Maybe that's why it's taking so long to make it. It's just massive undertaking.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully they do it right. So, and Pat can enjoy another one, and hopefully it will be more game and less fluff.
I liked it. Whatever was fluff. I think Shane's just annoyed at the Bumblebee scene.
Oh, that's my favorite part. I love the Bumblebee.
That was in the original game too.
Damn right.
Yeah, and I mean, in the first part, I don't think they had it in there, but like in the first part of the Final Fantasy game, when you go into the Shinra building, you can get in a locker. You can get Cass Sith's ultimate weapon, which I don't think that was a thing in the remake. So, but you get Cass Sith like way down the line in the original. But anywho,
Casino.
Yeah, at the Golden Saucer. Yeah. So anyway, do you guys have anything else you want to add to this, or anything else you want to talk about with the showcase?
Just no more mobile games. Make the other games good.
Yes, make them good. Make them good, Square. You can do it. We believe in you. You made some really bad decisions lately, but turn that ship around. You can make some good decisions. Don't turn them into NFTs, please. All right. You get your cloud NFT. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the Square Enix conference. And if there was anything that you saw that, besides the, hey, maybe the mobile game really piqued your interest or something from the store they showed off. They showed off some really cool items from the store. They have like a little cloud statue. It looks pretty cool. And like a little cloud buster sword alarm clock. It looks neat. I'd get it, but it's probably like $300 knowing the Square Enix store. So but yeah, let us know what you think, down in the comments below. And make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell of notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. We'll see you next time.
See ya.